Welcome into episode number 111 of The Voice Behind the Voice. I'm Sean Aronson, the TV and radio broadcaster for the St. Paul Saints, an independent minor league baseball team in the Twin Cities. It's about right now where I'd love to sit here and tell you all the different things going on in my life and all the fun things I'm doing and, you know, just the general life things that I have going on. Usually that's what I use these few minutes before we get into the podcast. That's what I use it for. But it's this time of the year where we are less than 3 weeks away from getting started, where the life now takes a back seat. It is pretty much gone. And I'm not saying this for anyone to feel bad for me. I'm just simply saying I don't have a lot of meat on the bone here in this open. I just don't. There's not a lot going on in my life. I spent the entire weekend either here at the ballpark or taking work home with me so that when we do get started in less than 3 weeks, I'm not swamped a day or two beforehand. That's what it's like this time of the year. You've heard me talk about it the last couple of years now. The 6 weeks leading up to the season are the busiest and most hectic time of the year, and that's kind of where we're at right now. People become, as my manager will say, or as people in our front office will say, full frazzle this time of the year. Again, I try to stay ahead of the game so I don't get to that point. But, not a whole lot going on. I will tell you, and I said this, I think, last year when I bought the house, I don't want to become house guy where, you know, people that are just newly married or have a new baby or even got a dog, they become, you know, baby person or they become dog person where that's all they talk about. But really, that's about the best thing I got going on in my life right now. Told you last week that I had the counters installed, got the new kitchen or the new sink, and I unhooked everything. Well, I told you my biggest fear was going to be hooking it back up, and it turned out to be true because let's just say there was a little bit of leaking going on in my sink, but I didn't want to call a plumber. I was able to fix it all on my own. I won't say it's perfect, that the drain in the sink that I put in on both sides is not perfectly symmetrical. It's not perfectly set in the middle there, but it doesn't leak anymore, and I was able to fix the problem on my own. Again, something that probably anyone could do out there, but someone who's not very handy, I was able to do, troubleshoot the problem on my own, and fixed it. That's about it. That's all I got going on. So with that said, let's just get to episode number 111. It is Eric Hasseltine of the Memphis Grizzlies. Again, I say this about all these broadcasters, right? Super nice guy. We did this at the hotel that the NBA teams stay at. And I loved his story because there was a particular part of his story that I really honed in on. And it happened to be the jobs that he had before he really made it. He was a water ski instructor. He was a bartender. And he also was a blackjack dealer, which, look, I grew up a 4.5 hour drive from Vegas, a 40-minute flight from Vegas. I've spent my fair share of time in Las Vegas, and I always thought what a cool job it would be to be a blackjack dealer. And here was a guy that was that. So we talk a little bit about that, and I sort of dug into that a little bit. If you have not subscribed to the podcast, please do so. iTunes, wherever you get your podcasts. Be sure to rate the podcast. Always helps me. You can give the feedback as well through those ratings. That way I know, what you want to hear or what you think we can cut out or need to get better on, whatever it may be. 2 years into this podcast, I'm always taking feedback from people. You can follow us on social media. Twitter, @TheVoiceBTV. Facebook, facebook.com/TheVoiceBTV. Of course, you can always email me, thevoicebtv@gmail.com. All right, let's get to episode number 111 because I got some work to do now. It's Eric Hasseltine of the Memphis Grizzlies. JW, roll the open.
I like to play blackjack and I like to play craps, and I had a roll on a craps table people dream about. Everybody says they have one. Well, mine came the year before I worked there, and I wasn't betting anything on myself, but my hands were shaking because there was so much money on the table, and I rolled for like 45 minutes, and I was like, "This is fun. This is what you should do when you're young, before you get settled down. Like, go have a fun job and a fun summer."